Hi, Nick Esposito here with the Esposito Strength Club. Today we're going to be going over a different variation with the trap bar deadlift that we utilize with some of our high school athletes. So the setup here is we've elevated the trap bar using some bumper plates. You can use rubber, you can use anything that's going to be safe to elevate with. Usually, right now we got about a 2-inch plate, so we can elevate a little bit more. You can also take away some of the elevation. It just depends on your athlete and where they are in their workout progression. We've also added a toe plate here. So what that does is the athlete puts like his forefoot, kind of the toes on the edge of that plate, and make sure his heel is in full contact with the ground. So what that does, it allows the athlete to hinge a little bit more naturally, hinge a little bit better to feel what it's like to get into that motion. We've also put a band around the knees here, a mini band. It's nothing crazy. It's not like a really tight band that's going to be such a massive amount of work. This is actually a fairly light band, but what this does, it brings some kinesthetic awareness to the athlete to where if he doesn't actively externally rotate his hips and knees during this exercise, he'll be almost forced into an internal rotation, which is something that we don't want in a deadlift. So we're kind of feeding the problem, which allows the athlete to have that awareness to say, hey, I need to externally rotate. I need to get these glutes fired on. And it just is a better option as they're learning the exercise. And that can go with any deadlift. That can go with any squat pattern. It's just a way to groove that pattern there. So as we get into the lift, it's a standard RDL or straight leg deadlift feeling, squeezing the lats, squeezing the bar into himself. That's something that we cue, is to just say actively try to pull that bar into your legs there. We'll even sometimes put paper towels under the armpits or something under the armpits for the athlete to squeeze to allow their lats to kind of fire on, to really activate that posterior chain. So here we go with the exercise here. You can see the athlete has soft knees. So what that means is he's not hyperextending. He's not locking those knees out, which is something that we definitely don't want, which that is one of the reasons why we also put that athlete in that plate position there. So next progression, we take away that band. That's something that might change every day. The athlete might need it on a certain day. He might not need it. So it just depends on that athlete that specific day. Wow, he's got such a face of determination right there. That's pretty awesome that we paused it on that one. So standard lift is the same setup. The athlete is still actively pushing those knees out. And then as you see, we take away that plate from the ground. So now he's got a full flat foot there. So it just depends on the athlete. It's one of the ways that we've progressed and regressed, actually, the single leg deadlift. So for athletes that we've noticed struggling with single leg deadlifts, this really activates that front leg. It definitely gets them a little bit more posted up on that front side. We're not offsetting a lot. That's one thing I want to reiterate here, is we're not offsetting by a lot. We're not having like a massive split stance. We're kind of lining up the toe with the inside part of the shoe there, so kind of the midfoot. And you can see here as we go back, it's similar here. We've got that same lineup right there. So it's all about just getting the athlete to understand what it's like to hinge, to squeeze their lats, and to kind of activate their posterior chain. We've definitely been going more towards trap bar variations of this lift and deadlift or dumbbell variations and kettlebell variations. We often don't utilize a bar often for our athletes, just because based on our clientele, we found it better for them to be in this situation. In your gym, you can definitely be doing this with a straight bar. It just depends on your athlete, but just know that straight bar is going to be a little bit different position with that split stance, especially. They're going to be a little bit more forward, which might put a little bit more stress into their back, which is why we've went with the trap bar to keep a neutral grip. So that's something to definitely be aware of. If your athletes are able to do it, that's fine. If it's safe for them, that's fine. Just know your athletes, and that's something that we've really strive for with our guys, is to make sure that it's the best possible option for him. For example, this guy here, it's a good option for him. We have a pro athlete on this side here. He utilizes more of the kettlebells and the dumbbell variations of this exercise, just because it's a better option for him. Thanks for listening, and let me know if you guys have any other questions and anything you guys want to see covered in a video here. If you guys have any questions about lifts or anything like that, feel free to reach out, and I'll try to cover it best as I can. All right, thank you.